Hey real estate investors, it's Jeremy Powell with Strategic PM, and I've got another hot market spotlight for you. Today, I've got Andy Moore from GulfCoast Property Management.
Hi Jeremy.
Andy, thanks for being here today.
Glad to be here, Jeremy.
Andy, if I'm looking in the Gulf Coast of Florida, am I better off looking at a short-term rental or a long-term rental?
What we usually say to prospective clients is that's really dependent on what your goals are. And we separate it into lifestyle goals, and we also separate it into financial goals. So the question is a difficult one to answer without a lot of context. What we do find is people are buying both short-term vacation rentals in our area, as well as a healthy investor annual rental market in our area.
I think a lot of investors understand the long-term rental market, but they're really still learning about short-term rentals. So what makes a good short-term rental in your market?
Location, location, location. It's vacation rentals, short-term rentals, it's dependent on the market that you're in, whether that be an urban environment, whether that be beachfront, whether it be golf community. There's no real answer to what the right vacation rental is or short-term rental is. There's probably more reasons. We would look at the reasons as why not to buy a vacation rental or short-term rental in a particular area.
Well, let me ask you this then. Right now, what percentage of your investors are buying long-term versus short-term in your market?
Well, we manage a portfolio of about 1,000 properties. We would have about 30% of our inventory would be vacation rentals, short-term rentals. That said, over the last year, we've seen more and more vacation rental owners coming onto our books than annual rental owners. The vacation rental market is a hot market. As you've just elaborated, there's people who are learning about the business. Florida is still a hot spot for vacation rental owners, and people are dipping their toes into our market.
Absolutely, that's what we keep reading about. Everybody is buying in Florida. So if I'm an investor watching this and I have, say, $500K to invest in a rental property, what would you recommend that I do?
Well, obviously I would say contact Gulf Coast. We deal in both markets and we're uniquely placed, and we can offer a market analysis for both routes, either the vacation rental, short-term rental and the annual rental. But aside from that, what I would encourage investors to look at, or focus on rather, is what their long-term goals are. What we see typically is an annual rental is like an annuity. It's steady income that you've committed to. Aside from the occasional eviction and maintenance event, you pretty much know what you're getting every single month. It's a strong market, very little vacancy. You know where you are. It's a steady cash flow situation. When you come to vacation rentals, the opportunity is huge. We see great revenue, eclipsing the annual rental market if everything's going well. But then when you throw in weather events like hurricanes, you throw in pandemics, you have volatility in the market where people aren't coming down to the region as much, then you're risking what your cash flow is. So if you've committed to a particular income range, then depending on your risk profile, annual rentals may be the way to go. But if you've got sufficient cash flow to cover your expenses and weather the downturns, then vacation rentals is a great opportunity for people.
So I'm definitely hearing what you're saying is it depends on a lot of factors, such as my situation, my goals, and specifically my risk tolerance. So it's really good to work with an expert in the area to make sure that we're making the right decision if we're not familiar with the market. So to help us understand that, could you tell us about a recent property or an investor that you helped in the market?
Yeah, sure. Well, one of the things we find, Jeremy, is people come to us very often after they've bought a property. We would very much like it if they came to us beforehand, and then we could give them a best use analysis of the properties that the property or properties that they've already bought. One situation sticks in my mind that we managed recently is a couple they came to us with an existing vacation rental property, and they were purchasing under contract for what they perceived was going to be an annual rental. However, after our analysis, it became clear that the original property that they were using as a vacation rental was better suited in the property that they were buying, and we would flip the one which was going to be an annual rental into the actual vacation rental. And it was only after digging in, looking at the numbers, looking at rental restrictions within the communities that they were purchasing in, that we made a point and a case for switching their investment model. And that was about 6 months ago, and it's been a roaring success, and these owners couldn't be happier. But that's knowledge. We live and breathe the vacation rental, annual rental market all of the time, whereas investors or real estate agents don't necessarily live in our world.
Well, it's great to know that if I'm an investor and I already have a property in the Gulf Coast of Florida, that you can still help me out. And that makes me wonder, where are your investors typically located? Are they local, or are they national, international, or are there specific parts of the country that like to invest in Florida?
At the moment, it seems everyone's wanting to invest in Florida, right? It's a hot market, and as you know, Florida's a snowbird magnet. So, and by snowbirds, I mean people who come here for the winter months. So what we see is northern investors, people from Chicago, New Jersey, New York, Ohio, they choose Florida, they choose specifically the Gulf Coast of Florida as their final destination when it comes to retirement. But rather than wait until retirement, until they purchase their property, they're buying the properties now. They're taking advantage of the prices now, believing there's going to be appreciation. So in the long run, it will save them money when they eventually do move down to the region. But then they're left with the dilemma of what to do with the property in the meantime. And that's very often where we come into the picture. Is we're presented with a property, and then we advise the client who's already bought the property, advise the client on which way to go to weather the expenses over the next 5 or 10 years until they can use the property full-time themselves as snowbird residents.
It's a great point you bring up, Andy. I think that a lot of people look at real estate investing as a property that they'll never live in, but there's also an opportunity to buy a property that will be a future residence and use it to pay for itself or create income in the meantime. So it's great that you're set up to help investors do that. Now, if I'm an investor watching this, whether I'm in the area, out of the area, what's a great next step to find out if investing in the Gulf Coast or having you manage my property is the next best thing to do?
Well, the first thing I would say is contact us at Gulf Coast Property Management. We'll be able to, if you're looking for a property and you're considering a property, we can give you best use analysis. We can give you great data on which way to go, whether it be annual rental, be it vacation rental. If you haven't decided on a property, then we're able to help you find that property and that will fit within your investment profile. And then if you already own a property and you're stuck and you don't know which way to go, then my team would be happy to help you and give you pointers in the right direction so you can make the decision that's best for you.
Andy, thanks for sharing all of your experience and information with us today.
And thanks for having me on, Jeremy.
So you can see there's a lot happening in the Florida market. It's not like other markets around the country. There's both short-term and long-term opportunities. Now, I highly recommend you take Andy up on his offer and get in touch with him or his team and get your rental property analysis, or just learn more about your investment goals and what can happen in the Gulf Coast market. So check out the link below or click on the button, book your complimentary market analysis with Andy's team. There is no cost, and learn more about investing in the Gulf Coast of Florida.